guys, Abby Grace here for another podcast episode, and today I think, yes, our podcast episode is on anger, so yay, we get to do that. We're first going to start with our favorite thing. So, favorite thing for me would be, I finished a series I was reading, a few days ago, and it was a really good series. I loved it. There was some not okay stuff in it, but I loved the series. It was really good. But when it finished, I was like, so this is Earth, and I was quite sad that it finished, honestly, because now I have to get into summer reading for school, so yay. But I had another favorite thing, and it just slipped my mind. Me and my friend had a gift exchange at the start of this week. We were supposed to do it at like Christmas time, but it got quite delayed, evidently, judging the fact that it is June. And but it was really nice, and I got a bunch of stuff. Actually, I want to show you some of the stuff. Hold on. Well, I got 2 mini candles. This one, and then the other one is blue, but it's like behind the iPad, so I can't really show you. I got this tiny little butterfly journal, which I've been using for gratitude. I've been using for gratitude, and it's so nice. I just love it. So nice. It's just cute having a little tiny journal to carry around for gratitude, and I absolutely love it, and it's fun. She also gave me some pens. There's like, I don't know, 10 of them. They all look like this. They're Mr. Pen, I think. And they work well in the Bible. I have, let me show you. I've been using my NLT Bible lately because I got that one more recently. So I have this Bible, which is in NIV. I had an ESV Bible, but then I wanted a new one for journaling, so then I got the NIV one for Christmas, and it has like areas to journal. I was using this, and then around, I don't know what time, but like I got the NLT one at like a bookstore, and I loved it so much that I haven't used this one in a while. So once I got these pens, I've been using them more now. See, let me show you. So I've been reading through the Psalms and making little notes using those pens, and it's super nice, and they don't bleed through, but you can see them on the other side of the page. But I also got this little journal, and at first I was like, what am I going to use this for? And then I remembered, so I love journaling and like brain dumping and to-do lists and stuff like that, and I had a composition notebook that I'd been using because I ran out of a journal to use that in, but it kind of ended up becoming like my writing books journal, and plus I prefer like a small, compact, secure journal, not a composition notebook. So I was like, oh my goodness, I can use this for my brain dumping and stuff. So that's super nice. And then I love these pens and stuff. They're great. Obviously I got like a cards and stuff, but I also got this reading journal, and as you can probably tell, my favorite color is green, so I have this mint journal. My iPad case is minty sage. This is like a minty sage. My desk is minty sage. My Kindle is sage. My room is sage. And my Bible is minty sage. So I was obsessed because so for my school shopping, which I've for some reason already started just looking at Amazon for school stuff, I put a reading journal in there, and it was sage green, and I was like, I need one because it's sage green and it's cute. And then I got this, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is perfect. This is just what I was looking for, and it's so cute and perfect, and I absolutely adore it. There's like review pages and thoughts and quotes. There's like the books I finished and my not TBR, books I've read, like the checkmark thingies. There's the books to read, and then like reading challenges, books to read. There's a DNF area, but I haven't really I've like not finished books like Fearless by Lauren Roberts. I didn't finish. Like, I got it right when it came out, but then I stopped it because I got stuck on it, and I just picked it back up. And then, so like, is that a DNF? Because I just picked it back up, so is it like a DNF, but then I picked it back up again? And then like Harry Potter 5, I like reread like 4 times, unable to get past like this one part, or get past it because I don't know. But I haven't picked that one back up, but I will soon, you know? So like, is that a DNF? I don't know. But I also got this coloring book. I took the cover off of it just because it was kind of flopping around, but it's I think it's Johanna Basford, Secret Garden. It's really cute. It's like there's like coloring pages and stuff, prompts for some of the pages. They're really cute. Yeah, so that was super nice having like that gift exchange. It was so fun. And then the next day, me and my friend, we went to Starbucks and we did a Bible study together, and it was amazing. And I've also been loving the Live Fearless Devo by, or like it's a devotional book kind of thing, but Live Fearless by Sadie Robertson Huff. And then my other favorite thing, which I kind of already showed you, was, so I'm absolutely adoring this Bible. I like forgot how much I loved it, but I love it so much. But so my goodness, my chair. I have read a few books of the Bible, and one of the ones I read was Psalms. I read through the entire thing. I don't know how young I was. I must have been like, I think I was probably like 12 maybe. But I like didn't remember much of what I read. Like, I didn't even realize I read my own favorite Bible verse. So I've decided that I want to reread the Psalms. And so right now I'm on Psalms 4, but as I already showed you, I've been kind of like doing like journaling it, and it's just so fun, and I feel like I'm getting a lot more out of it, and it's just nice kind of remembering what I read. And I also just love the Psalms so much. But yeah, so those are my favorite things. Also, what's your favorite book of the Bible? Like tell me what your favorite things are, and then tell me what your favorite book of the Bible, because mine is Psalms, but I also like love so many different books of the Bible, because I love John, but I'm also reading Matthew right now, and I'm loving that one too, and I love James and Philippians. There's just so many good ones, you know? You can't choose, but I do really love Psalms a lot. So now I need a verse of the day, so I'm going to go on to YouVersion. And the reason I use YouVersion is it has like this area where you can go search like a word, and it'll give you like Bible verses related to that word, so I'll just search anger. So we have a few verses of the day. And I do want to let y'all know, when it comes to anger, this book is going to say that it is, so this is, the author of the book, this book is, I'm pretty sure Christian, because he, like, mentions God in it, and the thing is, when it comes to recognizing your emotions, like, it's not good to follow your heart, but it's good to acknowledge how you feel, meet it with the truth that God says, because like as that like pastor said that I like read the last episode, it was not all feelings are true, but all feelings are felt, which is kind of why it's good to acknowledge them, but then like remind the truth, like but like put truth over the feelings. So like in the Bible, it talks about how anger can be not good. Anger can be not good, and how it's sinful and bad. And that is true. Anger can lead to sinfulness and bad stuff if it's like an unrighteous anger, you know, like if you have this like anger towards someone, that can turn really bad, almost like if that makes sense. But it is also good to be angry sometimes, because like if you have an anger, it shows that you're like human and that you value something. The verse of the day is James 1:19. Understand this, my dear brothers and sisters, you must all be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to get angry. Then the other verse of the day is, instead be kind. Ephesians 4:32. Actually, Yeah, Ephesians 4:31 through 32. Get rid of all bitterness, rage, anger, harsh words, and slander, as well as all types of evil behavior, and instead be kind to each other, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, just as God, through Christ, has forgiven you. And now we're going to dive into today's podcast episode about anger. I don't know if y'all can hear me well, so I'm sorry. And I'm going to be reading from this. I grew up believing that anger was a destructive force to avoid, that if I ever felt angry, I had somehow fallen short. Either I had not been patient enough, or I had let others see they had gotten to me. I thought that I was experiencing a failure of character. Anger was something to withhold, hide, or use to keep others away from my vulnerability. This impaired belief taught me how to deny my heart's true construction and allowed me to live a life of counterfeit fulfillment. Which for me is very relatable because when I was younger, every time I was afraid, I would rage, which I'll talk more about in the fear chapter. But every time I got afraid, I would rage. And I always thought I was angry. And so whenever I always thought that I was angry. And my parents would get mad at me, I guess, kind of, or at least I felt like I was a total failure and I was doing everything wrong, and that it was not okay to be angry because I got in trouble for it. And so I thought that anger was not okay for the longest time. And anger, when it comes to unrighteous anger is not okay when it comes to that. But just feeling angry, if you saw someone kick a child, you'd be angry. That you have every right to be angry for that. You should be angry. But if you're angry at someone and it causes you to do bad things, like gossip about them or treat them unfairly or just hold this unrighteous grudge against them, that's when it can become a problem. And so I think that's kind of the difference, if that makes sense. I'm going to continue now reading from this. In truth, anger is possibly the most important feeling we experience as emotional and spiritual beings because it is the first step to authentic living. It shows our yearning and hunger for life. Anger helps us pursue full life by exposing the substance, desires, and commitments of our hearts. Pause right there. What I just said is the reason that anger is good is it shows us desires we have or things we care about. Anger works to enhance relationships by building bridges of intimacy with others. Angry people can be known because of their unwillingness to hide. Anger is kind of you're passionate about something, so you love something so much that if your friend who you love got hurt, you'd be angry, and that's fine, right? But if you went to the person who hurt them and punched them and gossiped about them and said mean things to them, that's not okay. So I don't know if y'all understand, but in exposing the heart's substance, anger helps us in two ways. It shows the presence of passion. It indicates the experience of other feelings. Anger is the energy of desire and the willingness to reach for the desire to be satisfied. It shows us, even comforts us, what we care about. Authentic anger is a caring feeling, telling us that something matters. Anger exposes what we value and expresses our willingness to do what is required to reach that value. Jesus, who turned the tables over in the temple and drove out thieves from a sacred place, experienced true anger. He showed the vulnerability of full passion and compassion, the desire to make what had become rotten pure again. Besides showing the presence of passion, anger indicates the experience of other feelings. Anger can indicate the need to stop and consider what is happening inside of us. Anger, therefore, becomes a warning signal, telling us to look inside at what fear, hurt, sadness, or loneliness we are experiencing. That makes me think of rage, because every time I was afraid, I would start raging and get angry. And I guess it was kind of like a warning signal saying, hey, look, you're afraid of, probably failure, honestly, judging me. And it's like, you need to address this, which obviously when I was little, I would not have known that. But anger also indicates a need to take responsibility for other feelings. Thus, anger will help identify losses, which is sadness, rejections, loneliness, wounds, hurt, or limitations, fear, and gives us the opportunity to tell the truth about what is really going on inside our hearts. So when you're angry, sometimes you're just angry, but other times you could be angry because you're afraid, or it's because you're sad or lonely or whatever, and it's kind of like the anger is almost like a warning signal, like you should go to tell someone like you feel this way. It like is an opportunity for you to tell the truth. Anger is the energy that allows us to admit these other feelings. It gives us vitality, the guts to confess, admit, or show up. Anger reveals what matters to us. As the self-identity emotion, anger tells me where I stop and where you start, because anger exposes and expresses the heart's desires and true content. This exposure separates and declares our intentions, makes known our choices, decisions, values, feelings, and needs. Anger creates identity. Through it, we are known. Doesn't mean you need to be like angry at everyone, because I feel like a lot of times we can imagine anger as like doing bad things, being evil, but that's not what anger always is. Like when Jesus turned the tables in the temple, which it had mentioned, he was angry. I think often we can think of anger as like this sinful, evil thing, where like you're going out and doing something horrible because of this anger. But anger isn't always just like acting out in evil. Anger can be a warning signal, because like if you're angry, it's almost like a way of telling you, hey, you need to go tell someone. Like if I was afraid of, like there's this one time I was afraid that I was gonna like fail this thing for school. It's silly, but I was afraid. I was so angry and I raged and I was so angry, I was just screaming and yelling, and it was not pretty. And that part was, an emotional experience. But if I had taken that moment to tell someone, if I had noticed I was angry, or like really I was afraid, but like tell someone, hey, this is how I feel, people can get to know you better. I don't know how to explain this, because I feel like everyone's thinking that I'm saying, hey, it's okay to be angry and go do evil things. Not what I'm saying. I'm saying, hey, it's okay to have anger, realize it, and be honest about how you feel. So, yeah, I don't know. Anger, then, is the feeling that clarifies who we are and who we are not. By making us known, anger pushes us to be truthful and therefore trustworthy. If we can say no, be truthful, then the truthfulness of our yes has great value. We can be depended upon because of our anger. I guess what it's saying is, when you're angry, it gives you a chance to be honest about how you feel, and when you tell the truth, then it can build bridges, I guess. Our ability to show our true identity makes us available for relationship. In fact, anger reaches out for it. And when we reach out in truth and the reaching is met by another in truth, we build authentic relationships. Anger's impaired states, depression and pride, express contempt for our passion and vulnerability. Depression pushes passion back into the heart. Pride denies the vulnerability revealed in anger. Both impaired states are attempts to fight the heart's powerful desire for life, which is clearly revealed in anger. Once again, I want to state something. This is not telling you to follow your heart. This is not telling you to do whatever your heart says. This is telling you to, hey, slow down. How are you feeling? Really, how are you feeling? And if you're feeling a certain way, maybe go tell someone, maybe journal it out, talk to God, but be honest about how you feel. This is about being honest about how you feel, because the more you deny how you feel, the worse you feel. In depression, we turn turn against ourselves and have contempt for our hearts. We force our fight for life to be still and our cry for identity to be silent. All this energy turned against the self wears us out. Depression rejects the experience of our yearnings and wishes for things to be different. It's a denial of the heart's desire to reach out. If you are depressed, you close off your desires, the desire to get up, to eat, to take a bath, to go for a walk, to care. You close off your hunger for life. This state of depression is directly related to avoided anger, which takes us away from dealing with deeper sadness, loneliness, hurt, or fear. Then he gives an example about a movie called It's a Wonderful Life, where this guy, I've never seen the movie, but it basically says that this guy, he like stands on a bridge on Christmas Eve, and he's angry at his dreams and contemptuous of his hope for goodness, and he's hopeless about his passion for his own and others' well-being. It says he despised and then depressed his ache for life, finally trying to conclude that it was useless, wishing that he had never been born. And then it continues, it says, when Clarence, George's guardian angel, jumped into the water, George instantly responded from his true heart, throwing himself into the water to save another human being. He couldn't stop being George, courageous of heart and full of desire and passion. He couldn't stop being who God made him to be. And the rest of the movie is about George's struggle to accept his passion, vulnerability, and hope, and how these things deeply matter. And then he finally learns to accept love and give love. Desire reawakened is rooted in the feeling of anger. Yeah, that's an example about a movie I've never watched. Then we go into pride. Let's see. Pride keeps us from abundant living because it rejects our powerlessness. Pride refuses to believe that life is bigger than we are and that life affects us. If we avoid our anger, we can deny our vulnerability and thus our hunger to overcome obstacles that block the desires of our heart. Pride keeps us from abundant living because it rejects our powerlessness. When we attempt to deny our vulnerability, we use the energy of anger to build a wall around our heart, which we believe will stop or relieve life's pains. Unfortunately, this lack of courage to meet life on its own terms also blocks our recognition of the heart's miraculous abilities. One such ability is the capacity to hope in spite of the appearance of defeat. Another is the power to reach out in vulnerability. And it continues, and then it says, let's see. These abilities, fueled by anger, all affirm our potential for relational intimacy. Each situation also requires that we use anger to push aside pride's walls in order to admit vulnerability. A wall of pride around the heart blocks anger because pride says, it didn't bother me, I'm tougher than that, you don't get to me, I don't need anyone, I can handle this. Pride also blocks our need to admit the failure of self-sufficiency because pride cannot admit fault. Pride does not allow us to seek forgiveness. I didn't do anything, or forgive others. It didn't bother me. Almost a way of kind of denying things. And another thing when it comes to like if you feel angry towards someone, if you like hold a grudge towards them, and you're not forgiving them, and you don't seek forgiveness, like if you're not forgiving them or asking for forgiveness because you're holding this grudge of anger, it would probably be good to go ask for forgiveness. Even if you feel like you did nothing wrong, there's probably a reason someone acted that way. So it's always good to like I have this experience where I was angry at someone and I still have yet to apologize because I did kind of do something wrong. Okay, I didn't really do that much wrong, but looking back, I see some of my faults. And then that person got mad, and I was confused, and I was trying to understand, but they blocked me, kind of, basically. And I still have yet to apologize to them, but now there's I have this grudge against them, and there's like this tension. And I must say, if you do have a grudge against someone, the best way to heal from that is to pray for them, which is a hard thing to do, but the more you do it, the more that grudge kind of slips away, because I don't really feel that angry towards that person anymore. There's still like the tension there, and I still need to ask for forgiveness. But anyways, back to the impaired anger. Through pride, we justify our behaviors instead of accepting responsibility. We use pride to block the truth of the harm we cause. Through pride, we avoid the truth of our own limitations, susceptibility to problems, and vulnerability to pain. Until we truly feel our own pain by recognizing that life gets to our hearts, we cannot meet others in their pain. If we cannot empathize, we cannot meet others in their pain. Nope. If we cannot empathize, we can never be close to another or have involvement in a cause greater than ourselves, even if that cause is intimate relationship. Anger, the desire for full life, allows us to stand in truth, while pride entices us to stand in arrogance. How many relationships have you seen come to an end because the individuals were unwilling to be angry? And when it says angry, it's like a righteous anger. To be angry enough to care and build a bridge. Anger then creates a movement. It expresses our desire for life and helps us move into and remain present in the desires we are made for. Anger tells the truth about our heart's yearnings without the intention to harm. Anger tells the truth about our heart's yearnings without the intention to harm. Yeah, I read that again. Angry people who are pure with their heart, with their anger, can be good company to keep. Moses was angry, Abraham Lincoln was angry, Martin Luther King Jr. was angry. Each of them brought personal, powerful passion and vulnerability to life. All of them walked with their faces set on the path of their desires. Each of them expressed a clear identity, rejected pride, emerged from depression, trusted God, and stepped into full life. So yeah, that's the end of the anger chapter. And now we're going to move on to the personal reflection. Who or what are you angry with? How is this anger related to your desires? Oh yeah, get a pen and paper. I shouldn't even have to tell you that. Have you ever been angry with God? What about? What did you most desire those times? Were those desires fulfilled? What do you feel about that? How can anger move you towards fulfilling your heart's passions? Think of a time that you were depressed. What were you angry about that you could not express? How can anger help you declare your heart's truths? So yeah, that's the end of the anger chapter, and next we will have fear, which that'll be interesting. Yeah, so I hope the video was maybe helpful. But yeah, that's the end of the anger video. If you have any prayer requests or favorite things, or like what's your favorite book of the Bible, I want to know. But yeah, that's the end of the episode, and yeah, I'll see y'all next week. Bye.